made it to Berlin.
Ja. Berlin! Kein Schwein aus Berlin wird mich jemals hier in Bratislava finden.
Bratislava?
Ja. Bratislava!
Dear sweet mother of God, we're in Eastern Europe.
Hey everyone, Jim Bob back with you once again, bringing you a new video. My first ever Skybase raid. Believe it or not, I've got a few thousand hours in this game, and while I've looked for Skybases in the past, I've never been able to find any. And the crazy thing is, the Skybase is something that has been a consistent factor in this game for many years, and players that are afraid to lose their loot will abuse the building mechanic. It's an exploit, not necessarily a hack. They'll live in the sky. So I've traveled to EU, and that's the cutscene from my Euro trip. EU works really well. Raid times work really well with my summer schedule. I don't work in the summer, so the 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. raid time works really well, and it allows me to be on for a significant chunk of the raid time if I like to be. So I've traveled to this EU server, and I've met some really cool people here, and two of those cool people, Cola and Saxon, pointed out that they had found a skybase of a player named Viper and his clan ABCD. Now, I had seen their stuff around the map in a variety of locations, but every location was empty and very RP-ish. So I figured they had stuff somewhere, and sure enough, they have these 12 vaults in the sky. So, together with Cola and Saxon, we decided to raid this sky base together. And as you can see here, it took me a few attempts to figure out the flying mechanic to get up that high to be able to successfully land on the vaults. If you've ever used the bat before to fly this high, you have to use a fast flap technique where when you take off, you hit your spacebar or whatever key binding you have for that. You hit it quickly, and it flies you straight up in the air very quickly, very fast. Now, the problem with that is sometimes you can overshoot your target, which I did on this attempt here. And as I landed and my last stand did not proctor, and I died. So I had to run back, and on my 6th attempt, as you will see, I finally land on a vault. And in the meantime, Cola and Saxon had successfully knocked down a number of the thralls because they had landed there much earlier than I would consider myself a bit of a noob when it comes to flying the bat. It's not something that I do super often. You can see the fast flap technique here, where I am using it to shoot straight up, and it's about 6 or 7 flaps to where you reach the build limit. And while I overshoot it again this time, I don't overshoot it as much, and that was the key. The first few times I overshot it and either completely missed the vaults or landed too hard on the structures here. This clan had a really neat build, and I really don't know how you build in the sky. I've never lived up here, so I don't know how people go about doing this. But they had these 12 vaults in kind of a semicircle here with a map room at the very bottom. Their beds are on the map room, and then they had a ton of camels, which I assume they probably were using for storage. They also had a number of archers, which made our life a little bit difficult, and they had some decent gear on them. So as Cola and Saxon eliminated those archers, I was able to collect some star metal arrows, and along with my poison arrows, I began to help melt the camels and the remaining archers. As a team of 3, Saxon, Cola, and I worked down the camels and the remaining archers and fighters on the map room. We used a combination, like I said, of poison and star metal arrows to kind of whittle down their health. and it was nice to work with some new friends. Now, I'd been invited to this server by a person on my YouTube channel named Bigfoot, who suggested that my talents were needed on this server to help kind of stabilize the server, and that's a video for another day. I've got some additional content from here that I'd like to show you. But there's a couple clans of exploiters here, one Chinese clan and then this clan, and they have some either Cantonese or Mandarin writing on their signs, and I'm not exactly sure if that means that they are Chinese or not, but both clans were long rumored to live in the sky, and sure enough, Saxon and Cola found a sky base up here. So kind of fitting in with what I've done in the past in Conan, I take these types of players on. This is kind of my jam. This is what I like to do. I like to eliminate people that are abusing this great game that Funcom has delivered us, although very buggy and very glitchy, and you know, they don't really deal with hackers the way that they should. The true essence of this game is outstanding, and although I've been playing Dune a lot lately, something about Conan just, it always brings me back. Always brings me back. So here we are, we're about closing in on eliminating the enemy army, and at that point Saxon and Cola jump down to kind of finish the job here. As you know, you don't want to die up here, you don't want to fall off, because if you do, then you have to fly back up, and as I showed you earlier, it took me 6 attempts to get up here, and I really didn't want to like have to try and come up here again, because it was actually quite challenging. You could see why people, you know, exploiters like to live in the sky. They're very hard to find, first of all. Second, they're tough to raid. And here I'm going through the beds. We've got Alexander, Hang Ghost, and some Russian name. Their Circle of Power had a bunch of goods in it. And at this point, we're just kind of whittling down the unconscious bodies here. Ice, June 1st, 2 more names of exploiters. So it appeared to be a clan of 6. I missed the bed on the volcano thing. That's coming up a little bit later. When we were looting a lot of the camels and some of the stuff, we noticed that they had these 100 stacks of paper, and I have no idea what that would be about. So if you are watching this and you've made it this far in the video, first of all, thank you for checking it out. Second of all, if you know why these exploiters would have these stacks of paper in inventories here, what purpose does that serve? There's some thought that they might use it in some way to crash the server, and in my next video you'll see that the server does crash quite a bit, and I don't know what that's all about. So this next part of the video, I'm just going to kind of take you through, and there's a lot of cut and paste here because there's a lot of downtime in between, because some of the stuff's getting looted, and Cola and Saxon are doing their best to like take the best stuff and sometimes even jump after the loot when it falls. Luckily for us, they had these walkway paths underneath the vaults that would capture the loot from falling, which was, I don't know if it's the walkway paths are necessary for the vaults to be able to be placed. I'm assuming that they are, but one unintentional thing of the walkway path is that it caught the bag for us in 10 of the 12 vault situations, which was great for us, for Saxon and Cola. I'm not here for loot necessarily, as you know from previous videos. I don't really care about loot so much. I mean, I love blowing stuff up and seeing what's inside, and obviously when I'm doing a big playthrough, I will take my fair share of loot, and I will definitely, you know, loot everything if it's just me. But in this case, Saxon and Cola, they were the ones that found the sky base. They just allowed me to tag along for the ride and check it out, which I was super grateful for. And so they were telling me to loot, and I obviously did loot a few things, mostly weapons and kits, so that, you know, I could keep playing here. But as you know, I live very small when I play solo. I don't have a big base, so my requirements for mats and building mats and all that kind of stuff is pretty low. I don't really need that stuff, so I let them loot pretty much everything, and I was just there to help bomb and check out what was inside these magnificent vaults. 12 vaults. You could imagine how excited we were to pop each one of them open. So a lot of cut and paste here because there's a lot of downtime. So I basically am going to go through all 12 vaults and show you what was inside. Like I said, I think it was because we used some explosion and poison arrow combos on some of the vaults. Some of the walkway paths blew up when we blew up the vaults, and the bag of loot would fall. Cola chased after one time and got it, but after that was, you know, as I did, had trouble getting back up. So when the odd time the bag would fall, we did not chase it, just because it was a pain in the ass to get back up here. So I'm going to stop chatting for the meantime. I've chatted for probably about 10 minutes now, and you're probably tired of hearing my voice. So I'm just going to throw on some music, let you enjoy the loot gains, and I will be back in a couple minutes just to talk about exploiters, what I think of them, and what is up next for Jim Bob. Cheers, everybody. This vault was awesome. Not only was there a bunch of legendary weapons, all of their archpriests, leftover archpriests, including a Circa of the Silk, one of my favorite, rarest placeable objects in the game, I guess. Thralls. Circa of the Silk spawns very few times, so obviously when I come across one, I get super pumped. Again, in this vault, we found those packages of paper, sheafs of paper. There were several stacks of 100. So like I mentioned earlier, if you know what exploiters are using these for, can you share it in the comments? It's more out of a curiosity for me than anything. I'm assuming when I've run into this kind of stuff in the past, I'm talking about years ago, there were certain items in the game that exploiters could use to crash a server. So that's what I think it is, but I could completely be wrong and they could be used for some other purpose. So if you know what's going on there, please drop a comment and let us know. And the juice, baby. The juice! Not as much juice as I thought they would have. I'm assuming that these 6 players probably body vaulted a good portion of their juice. But 500 dragon powder and a few thousand arrows of each kind is always a welcome sign, a welcome loot gain. So I didn't take any of it, but I was pretty pumped for my 2 buddies down there because it's always nice to find the goods, you know what I'm saying? If you are still with me at this point in the video, you are an absolute rock star, closing in on the grand finale here. Vault number 12 of 12. Thank you for watching so much. I will keep doing what I do in this game as long as it interests me, and right now my interest is super peaked. I would imagine after putting this video out that a hacker will show up and probably come and wipe me. Hackers aren't a big fan of the Nodfather, and when they realize that I am hurting their buddies, their exploiter friends, they will usually come for me and take me out. So I am prepared for that to happen, but I'm going to keep the good times rolling. I got some more content coming, and Viper has shown up after this content here that I've shown you, and he has built a new sky base, so I'm looking for it. So maybe I'll have some more sky base stuff to bring you. Thanks for watching.